surprised that Theresa May had gone as far as she did, because there was this argument about it's elected politicians who are responsible, who are accountable, who should be signing this. She said the Secretary of State should sign it, and then a judge should sign it before that warrant becomes... There are emergency circumstances, I know, they have to be clearly defined.
What's the answer to that, Chair?
The answer is clause 19.2 of the bill. I don't know if you've read it, I have. So there's been all this spin about double locks, yeah? The politician goes first and then
so what's the reality?
So the reality is the politician makes the judgment, and a judge is allowed to review the judgment and can only intervene on very, very limited grounds, on judicial review grounds. In other words, if the politician is bonkers or has been completely procedurally improper in the way he's looked at the decision. And a proper judicial warrant, as they have in the United States and all over the free world, allows a judge to actually make the decision about whether there's sufficient suspicion or evidence to warrant this intrusion.
It's a judicial review of every single warrant before they actually become effective.
So the politician issues the warrant.
If that's what
the politician issues the warrant. You're saying, but the warrant can't be used until the judge has approved the warrant.
But he can't make a different decision. He can only interfere with the politician's decision on very, very limited grounds. No, but you're not understanding my point. What we're talking about here is there sufficient suspicion?
But I suppose that, since this is a draft bill,
yeah,
and Mrs May, in a sense, is in a negotiating position.
Indeed.
And she didn't particularly want judicial review anyway. That is something she will be under pressure to tighten up.
I certainly hope so.
I would ask you, I understand, I think most people probably wouldn't agree with Shami. They would think the security services should have access to the metadata and should be able to get to see browsing history if it was required. Why should the police get to see anybody's web browsing history simply on the say-so of a middle-ranking officer?
Well, police are crucial in this. This is not just about terrorism. This is about organised crime. Yeah. It's about paedophilia. It's about, if you listen to the experts who plot and track child exploitation.
Shouldn't they need a warrant? If they've got suspicion...
They need a warrant to search your home.
They don't need a warrant. But under this, they would only a middle-ranking police officer could do it. Now, you just think of the circumstances you could see there. The police have arrested somebody, and they think he's guilty, or she's guilty, but they can't quite get them to confess. So the middle rank goes, oh, let's just have a look at your browsing history, shall we? And let's see. They may find something totally unrelated to the case, but it could be highly embarrassing. They could use that to...
That's a fair point, Andrew. I think that, the police need to have access to this data. Maybe there should be a higher authority in the police.
Judges should sign warrants. But one final question, hacking. What hasn't been talked enough about yet, the new power in this bill will allow hacking of entire networks.
What do you mean is the security services going on to people's phones?
People's devices, people's networks, people's servers.
But they would need a warrant for that.
Well, not a judge's warrant. It's the same kind of warrant that I've just described. It's a politician's warrant that a judge can only interfere with on very limited grounds. And here's my concern about hacking.
Politician's warrant.
But here's my concern.
I don't think it's a knockout.
I
don't think it's a knockout argument saying it's a politician's warrant. I mean, you took it seriously, I took it seriously. We take it very seriously when we sign these warrants.
And David Anderson and his predecessor have pointed out actually this is a bit.
He asked for a judicial warrant.
Something that yes, he did, but he said this is something that hasn't gone wrong. There's no cases of politicians not taking it seriously.
But on hacking, the danger with hacking that's even graver than just listening is that when the authorities effectively damage the security of a network, granted for laudable reasons because they want to listen and their investigation is over, that network is potentially permanently undermined. And then because you've interfered with the network, and then subsequently all sorts of other people.
But they've been doing. We learned from Mrs. May yesterday they've been doing that already.
And do we think this is? Do we think this is?
We have no evidence.
And you don't.
But in what way is the network being damaged?
Because what makes hacking different from just intercepting is you're actually interfering with the infrastructure to a point where you leave that network vulnerable to hacking by other people subsequently.
Is that
and
the
you don't even know.
malevolent forces you were talking about?
That's the malevolent forces.
I'll give you
the first point is that the security services have to be able to chase these communications into this dark area. I don't want, if Shami's point is this leaves it open to malevolent forces, of course we need to close it to malevolent forces. But, Shami, you accept there are areas where terrorists and others are moving because they believe that security forces can't follow them.
So people should be told when they've been hacked so that they can fix
follow.
their security afterwards, surely.
Can I just
Sure.
offer
Cannot
you know,
impose.
a really basic political point, as we've seen this week over Shami al-Sheikh, when politicians believe that people may be killed by terrorists, they're going to take immense steps to prevent that from that
Because
occurring.
the political price
Because the
of
political
nonsense.
price of nothing is so huge. So there is a kind of built-in asymmetry, I understand that, but that is politics because people are charged with security and safety.
We've run out of time, but John, you're going to be busy.